Hello and welcome back to my channel, Literary Lauren. In this video, I read some of my most anticipated reads of 2025. Again, I feel like every month I'm gifted by the publishing gods, and this video has some faves and some flops. I had so much fun filming this video, and I think it's my favorite one yet. So I'm going to flip to past Lauren, and she's going to tell you about the first book that we are reading in this most anticipated reading vlog. Don't mind the harsh lighting. We are in a bit of a different location. Mum and I are staying in the city for the weekend because we are seeing a show, Mamma Mia, out loud. We're leaving in about 20 minutes. I thought I would very quickly update you because I bought this book today and I am very excited about it. It is a recent release from an Australian author, Laura Elvery. And I know this author because I did a week's residency at Verona the Writers' Festival in February, and she was working on this book when we were there together. It is about Florence Nightingale. I picked it up. I have been searching the shelves for her name in anticipation for this book coming out, and I basically dropped everything to pick up this book. Right now, all I can say is this woman is an amazing writer. She knows her stuff, and there are so many moments that I'm like 12 pages in that I'm like, whoa, this book is visceral, the writing is wonderful. I'm gonna go read this and I'll update you later. I am tucked into bed, basically, almost. I've done my skincare and my skin is skinning. For once in its life, it actually looks a little bit hydrated. I'm about to snuggle into bed. Mother dearest is brushing her teeth and getting ready for bed. I'm about to clock in for a shift of reading Nightingale by Laura Elvery. I absolutely love that I've met this person. I am going to keep reading for the rest of the night. It is currently 10:51. Not very late, but pretty late. I'm a bit tired. Went to the gym this morning, so I don't know how long I'm going to be up, but I'm going to read a little bit of this book to end the evening on a high note. It has been a fair few hours since I last updated you. I'm back home, obviously, back in front of the bookshelves. I am about 75% of the way through this book. I'll read you the back. Mayfair, 1910. At the age of 90, Florence Nightingale is frail and no longer of sound mind. After a celebrated career as a nurse, writer, and statistician, she now leads a reclusive existence. One summer evening, she is astonished to receive a visitor, a young man named Silas Bradley, who claims to have met her during the Crimean War 55 years ago. But how can this be? And how does the elusive Jean Frawley connect their two lives? This book is I'm not going to say fast paced, but you can tell that every scene is intentional. Like, you can tell that there is not a filler scene. Every scene has a purpose in constructing the characters in the way that we need them to be presented for what their final purpose is going to be. This book is reminding me a lot of Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. We are following a historical figure. It is bouncing around time slightly. It's playing around with time, and the main character, which is Florence Nightingale, she is in her last kind of days. She's not really of sound mind. She's flipping around time very quickly, and half the time you don't really know if she's lucid and if she's within where she's at, if she's actually there, because it does bounce around a lot in the early part of the book. So I would compare it to Hamnet. We're following a historical figure, but maybe not in the way that we would think. In Hamnet, we are detached from Shakespeare. He's actually never named, but it is largely about his family. It is about the women predominantly, whereas Nightingale, we are following Florence Nightingale, but we are following her in her last days. So she is perhaps not the figure that people would recognize. I know very little of Florence Nightingale, so this is kind of my introduction to her, and I am interested to kind of deep dive into what her life was actually like. I have less than 100 pages left, so I might honestly finish it tonight and update you again. I finished Nightingale last night and it is 5 stars. I really liked this book. Laura Elvery is such an amazing writer. Her writing is lyrically visceral. Some passages I was absolutely gobsmacked because I'm like, whoa, I would have never described something like that, but when it's put that way, I get it. You can tell that so much thought and research went into this book. Oh my goodness. I really loved the other characters. I don't want to say too much about them because I think it's kind of great to go in blind. If you want to support a new release, this is her first full-length novel. She's also done short story collections as well, so check her out. She's a great writer, Laura Elvery. And it was also really, really nice to be able to message an author and be like, hey, I loved your book. And it was funny because I was trying to actively remember all the things that she said to us about the book, but also holding myself back because I just wanted to experience the book for myself. I think it's really cool to see an Australian writer publish something and to have such a stunning cover and to have such a stunning book. It's given me a lot of hope and I really admire her work. That's enough of me gushing. So after finishing Nightingale a couple nights ago, I didn't know what I was going to pick up next, but then I remembered that Abby Jimenez's book came out recently and that I had a credit on Audible that I hadn't used yet. When was the world going to tell me that this was about a long distance relationship? I didn't expect it going in that we were going to have a long distance setup. For those of you that don't know me, I have been in a long distance relationship. I'm in Sydney, he is in Melbourne. I've been in that relationship for 2 years and there isn't really an end date in sight. There will be an end date, but who knows when that will be. Why did no one tell me that there is a book out there in the world that's popular, maybe for the wrong reasons, because not many people are liking it, which I don't understand. Spoiler alert for my thoughts. But why was no one going to tell me that it's somewhat about long distance? Because I'm eating this up. I must say that if you're in a long distance relationship, I would only read this if you're in a secure place, because they do talk about all the things that are wrong in long distance relationship. Not wrong, but all the reasons not to be in one. So be secure in your choice before really going into this book. But we follow Xavier and Samantha, and they by chance meet when Samantha brings this kitten that showed up to her in the kitten cat distribution system, and she brings her in and turns out she has something wrong with her, and they have an interaction that isn't the most positive. Later on, he comes around when she's brought back for just a light checkup. He asks her out for a date, and that's kind of how their romance progresses. I will say that there is a character that has dementia, and those aspects of this book are very hard-hitting and very hard to read as someone who knew someone with dementia, so that is kind of hard to digest at the moment. So by no means is this a light, easy, breezy read, but everything that it's saying, everything that it's putting down, I'm appreciating. I don't get the criticism that this book is getting, and once I finish it, I think I might go through some of those reviews because I really don't get it, but I will check in with you when I'm a little bit of the ways through it. I've only got 3 hours left of the audiobook, so I might honestly finish it.
I finished Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I am rating it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. If you are in a long distance, long-term relationship, make sure you're in a good headspace, because a lot of this book is the constant reminders and things like that of how hard it is to be separated from the person you love. Honestly, if I wasn't flying to see my boyfriend, 3 days after I read this book, I actually think I would have been absolutely devastated, but it also did touch on how much you love someone and how much you would fight for them, to see them and to be with them. That was incredibly touching, and I really loved seeing a long distance relationship trope. I've never read about it, and it was refreshing because so many of the romances that I read, they're in the same place, they're in the same city, and sometimes that can be tiring when the person that you love is not a 10-minute drive down the road. It's really hard. I may have felt differently if I was a month away from seeing my partner or a few weeks away from seeing him. But because I was seeing him so quickly, I was just like, this is the bittersweet feeling that I get when I leave, but I'm about to see him. So I think I may have felt a little bit differently if that wasn't the case. And as for the discussions of dementia, I've seen some of the criticism for this book pointing out that the family is being selfish in how they care for the mother. And to that I say, I wholeheartedly disagree. Caring for someone that has dementia is all-consuming and desperately lonely. And it is absolutely devastating to see someone that you care about slip away from you and slip away from the person that you know that they were. A book that does it incredibly well is Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. There is a character in there that has dementia or Alzheimer's. I can't remember which one it is. There's a quote in one of his books, and it's that he was returning to the stars one atom at a time. And it's just, you're slowly watching someone lose their mind, lose their identity, and become not the person that embodied their body, if that makes sense. I know it's so hard to explain. People are saying that in the case of Samantha's mum, that they should have just taken her to a facility. Sometimes removing someone from their permanent and familiar environment can make them worse. And what they were doing was respecting her wishes, even though it exhausted them. And to me, that is selfless. Anyway, I don't wish this on my worst enemy. Anyway, it was 4 stars for me. I must say that star was mainly knocked off because the amount of pop culture references and niche references that were in this book were a little bit grating. It was getting to the point where I was like, I don't think I speak like that. I get that Samantha would be very chronically online because she's a marketing person, but I don't get why her older sister that apparently has no time and has 2 kids, I don't get how she would be so up to speed with everything that Samantha's saying. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it tackled hard issues very well, but you do not go into this book thinking that you're going to get a nice, fun, rom-com-y time. You're going in for a hard time. You're going in for the shit sandwich that is life, and that's what you get. Okay, so I'm on the train because I am going to Melbourne today, which is very exciting. The moment someone walks into this carriage, I am turning my camera off. I finished Say You'll Remember Me last night. I've got basically a 2-hour train trip to the airport, but that's okay. It is bucketing outside. I washed my hair, and I think I'm going to read the next book of this video while I'm on the train. It's protected in this lovely book sleeve that I got from Quirky Cup Collective. It is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. We're just going to dive straight into this book, and I will update you probably once I'm at the airport, or maybe not, because I don't like doing this in public. But we will talk soon. We have never filmed inside a car, but my boyfriend has just gone to footy training, so I thought I would update you because I got over 100 pages into Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. We followed Alice and Hayden, and they are both competing for the biographical position of writing for this amazing actress that has kind of gone underground. No one is able to find her, but somehow they both do, and they are kind of competing for this position. I'm vibing with it so far. I'm sure you've heard everything under the sun about this book so far. I am intrigued by Margaret and her life experience. I'm interested, to say the very least. And yeah, I'm just going to sit here, eat some Joels that I found in my boyfriend's car, and we're going to enjoy this book. The lighting is terrible. It's 7:30 at night and I'm sitting in the dark by myself reading a book in silence. My boyfriend's about to come back from training, but I had to check in. At page 203, who is hating this book? Because I think they're wrong. Very atrociously wrong. Because tell me why they're on the sand right now and it's one of the most romantic things in the world. This book is actively so infuriating. I've read a page. And I'm not bothered to get my mic out. This book is actively so infuriating, but also I'm here like screaming, giggling inside my head, because why would I do that in public when I'm in a car park that's dark and I've got a light on? I've been literally sitting here with my torch. I only put this light on to film this. But oh my god. Oh my god. I almost lost my book. Why is it so infuriating? They are so infuriating, but at the same time I'm like on the inside. I kind of love it. Editing Lauren here, realizing that I didn't even close out my feelings on my thoughts of Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life, because I was then reading it in snatches here and there while my boyfriend and I were traveling around Melbourne. So it's a fair few weeks later, a couple weeks actually, and I thought I would give you my final thoughts. I rated this one 3.5 stars, which obviously with my emotions that you would have just seen is a bit of a shock, because those are 5-star feelings right there. It ended out being 3.5 stars. I have a bit of a complicated relationship with this one because I thought it was really good in the beginning. Everything felt well placed and well paced, I suppose. Then we got to the end and everything felt slightly convenient and slightly predictable. I feel like I was a few pages or chapters ahead of what was being revealed to us, and then everything felt very convenient to me because I predicted it. I don't know. I don't want to like toot my own horn and be like, oh, I'm so good at predicting things, but it then fell a little bit flat in that way. I don't want to compare it to Emily Henry's other books because this is something that she hasn't done really before. It is a departure from her usual canon, but I think it was still very well done, and I would love to see more of her other more general fiction works. I'm just as likely to pick up another one of her general fictions as I am to pick up one of her romances in the future. There are some of her romances that really hit me and I love to absolute death, and maybe her general fiction will also blow me away in the future. That was my thoughts on that one. Back to Melbourne, Lauren.
I don't know where my mini mic is, so please excuse the fact that the audio quality may be terrible, but
we have an update for you.
we went book shopping. So this is a recent releases vlog, and I would be doing myself and the world a disservice if I didn't read the recent release that's coming out today, May 27th. If you are an avid reader of this author, you would know the date. We've been counting down. It is none other than Ali Hazelwood's problematic summer romance. I did the big girl thing and I asked the people at the counter to check their boxes. This is fresh off the press and then shipped to Australia and then out of the box, fresh out of the box of the press. So we are ditching Wild and Wrangled for this here little portion of the video, and we are starting this book here. I did also pick up this book, which I have been adoring, and it's signed by the author. I didn't think through taking off that sticker, but it is signed by the author, and thus I do want to do a video about beautiful covers. Because Australian authors, I think, have the most beautiful covers ever in the world. Anyway, I do travel home today, so I am leaving Austin, which is so sad.
Sadness.
Very sad. But this may make me happy in that sadness. But anyway, I'm very excited to read this. I am going to devour it on the plane and then train back home. And then, while I cry myself to sleep, I'm also going to be reading this. It's going to make me happy. I don't even know what it's about. I think it's age gap romance.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy, indeed. Okay, anyway, bye-bye. We're gonna go to the airport.
I am back home, safe and sound, and in my 3 to 4 hours of travel back from Melbourne, I'm approximately just under halfway through Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I can't believe I didn't know that this followed similar characters to Not in Love. Not in Love follows Eli and Rue, and bit of a spoiler alert, it's a romance, who cares? In this book, everyone is in Italy for a destination wedding, and it is the wedding of Eli and Rue, and it is a relationship starting between Eli's younger sister Maya, who is 23 in this book, and Eli's business partner, or Connor Harkness, or Hark as everyone knows him. He's 38. So there's a bit of a age gap romance going. Ali Hazelwood can write. The character voice in this one, we are following Maya's perspective. Oh my gosh, it is so clear, it is so concise. Her view of the world is sustained throughout the whole thing. I'm obsessed. It's giving me the love and happiness that I kind of need post seeing my boyfriend. Because it's a bit sucky coming home to a long distance thing, because you just want to meet with them all the time. I'm not going to suki lala about it because I'm already sad. I don't need to be more sad. And I'm going to go keep reading this book. I'm about 75% of the way through Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. This book almost feels like a fever dream because I feel as though I've been plonked into fan fiction, which I think is so good. It's as though we're getting glimpses of other characters, of the characters that we know and love from the other books, but also we're diving into this one and it's really fun and juicy. Their romance is so slow burn that it's almost infuriating. Not much has happened, but with the pairing of the flashbacks and the present day, you can very much tell that these two are meant for each other and that they have a lot of care and consideration for each other. Ali Hazelwood is very good at writing character and writing character perspective. There are multiple parts in this book where Maya will be having this inner monologue and then she cuts herself off, and then it's pointed out later on in the book. They're like, why do you cut yourself off mid-thought? Why do you do it? It's just really well done that Ali Hazelwood writes in purposeful character traits that then are pointed out or make sense later on. I just love them so much. There is a constant denial of their relationship. Not denial that it doesn't exist, but a self-denial as in, we're not doing this, which is really hard to read, but you do know that it's coming from a good place because you can tell that Connor's love language is acts of service, and you can tell that all he wants is that Maya is cared for and feels safe, which I think you kind of need in an age gap romance because you don't want it to be sticky. This one seems only problematic in that it's being labeled so by one of the characters because they feel uncomfortable and they don't want to take advantage, which I think is very refreshing. And as someone who is very new to the subgenre of age gap romance, I think it's well done. I don't think I'm extremely well versed in the genre just yet, so I don't think I can be like, oh yeah, this is an example of a great one, but I can say that I'm very much enjoying it and I'm interested to see how their relationship concludes because it is so slow, but I kind of vibe with it. I'm happy that I'm reading it literally within 48 hours of it being released. Anyways, I am going to go finish this book and I will update you when I am done. Why am I about to cry? No, because he's so cute. This is miserable, but they're so I'm crying again. What is this? I'm convinced that these pages are laced with something that makes people cry. Back I go, I guess. I need to touch up my lip gloss before I talk to you because holy crap. Okay. So I finished Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I have not known a story to start out kind of with no hope and then end in a really romantic way. I started out this book really unsure and really not stressed about it, but not knowing how I was going to feel about it, especially given that the character of, what's his name? Connor. I'd literally just finished the book. Connor's character was so concerned with telling everyone how wrong it would be. And I'm like, to just see it happen was really wonderful. Anyway, this was so fun. Like, genuinely, I was crying. Why would I cry? Like, I've never really cried in a romance book, but this was just so deeply romantic at points. I don't think that this dynamic could work with many characters, but Ali Hazelwood has kind of chosen and paired together the best characters for this moment. I just can't. I think it's a 4.5 stars. I don't know why it's not a 5-star. Just looking back at the giddiness that I had for Not in Love and Deep End, it's not like that manic love. I loved this wholeheartedly, but not to the point where I was like careening off a cliff in love with it. You know what I mean? I think they suit each other perfectly. They make sense for each other and their relationship makes sense. It was a really long progression. It was slow burn in the best way. I'm so glad that I picked this book up as soon as it was published because I think it was just that like bit of zappy joy that I needed to get me through the post seeing my long distance boyfriend blues. This brightened my day, made myself happy. If you are doing a Euro summer, read this book. I will be disappointed if you do not. I do have a little bit of time, so we may still get to Wild and Wrangled. I have heard that it's not as good as the other books, and after this could get me into a slump if I then read a book that I'm not vibing with more. So we'll see. I am going to go put this very respectfully onto my shelves because I love it so much, and I will talk to you later. It's a pretty miserable weather day in Sydney today, so it's the perfect day to sit down and read a book, which is exactly what I did while having a bath to just unwind and de-stress. And I got 50 pages into Wild and Wrangled, and guys, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this one. Lyla Sage has been a pretty, I guess, moderate reading experience for me. I really liked Lost and Lassoed. The first 2 books in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, it's so hard to say, in the Rebel Blue Ranch series were pretty middle of the road for me. The third one was pretty good. I really liked it. And this fourth one, I just don't know that I click with her writing. It is extremely play-by-play. For a book that is centered in first person, it is so play-by-play that it's almost devoid of emotion. And when it is emotion, it's not like that yearning, pining that we can get from other books. And I think coming from a book like Ali Hazelwood's Problematic Summer Romance, coming off the back of that and entering into this book, it genuinely disappoints me because Ali Hazelwood is a writer that when you are in a character's perspective, whether it's first or third person, you are in their mind. You know exactly what they're thinking. You are experiencing their thought patterns. Whereas in this book, there's no stream of consciousness at all. It's just, then the server came over and said, what can I get for you guys? And then they give their orders. And then they're talking, not even banter, they're flirting, but it's like, so, okay, let me tell you the plot of the book. Cam is basically left at the altar. We're introduced this on the first page, so it's not a spoiler, but her husband just didn't show up. Her fiancé, her would-be husband, did not show up Dusty and Cam are like childhood sweethearts, but they've broken up. And Dusty kind of saves the day and takes her for a drive and takes her to a Chili's. And we're in this car ride, and then we're sat at the table and they bring up the wedding. And Dusty's like, we've avoided this subject so far and given us reasons. And I go, you didn't have to tell us the reasons because we know that you haven't talked about it. We know that you've been pining for her, and we know that she's been left at the altar. We know that it's a touchy subject. Everything's just being spelled out 50 pages in, and I'm having already this like procrastination of wanting to pick it up again. It's not boding well.
We haven't filmed from this angle for a hot minute, so I thought I would sit down and chat to you about Wild and Wrangled. Nothing has really changed since I last updated you, but I am now approximately 120 pages into the book. It's improved slightly, but I still feel like nothing has happened. We're still getting introduced to the characters. We are getting flashbacks when they were together 15 years prior, and not much has happened. There is slightly a false proximity element to this book, which I think will come into play as the story progresses, but I don't know, it's still feeling very one note. Everyone's feeling very one-dimensional, two-dimensional. What's one-dimensional? Anyway, the dimensions, they're flat. I don't think I've laughed at a single quip or joke. I don't think they're very witty or funny. It's not giving rom-com vibes, which is what this book is mainly marketed as. I just finished Wild and Wrangled, and thank God it's over. It's a 1.5 stars. I hated it. I trudged through the ending. I couldn't get it. There's a not even third act. There's a 30 pages until we finish the whole freaking story breakup moment. And thank God for Wesley, or whatever his name is, Wes. Thank God he sits down with her and goes, is it actually a big deal? Because they are 32. How are they this immature? They almost seem more mature when they're 15, and then the third act breakup happens and I'm like, are you serious? I actually had to move from where I was sitting because I was so gobsmacked. I'm sorry to be over critical of it, but the thing is, I have read something like this, very similar, but written infinitely better. In fact, like, it's right there. If you can see what that is, there's your recommendation in place of this one. I know that tropes are overdone. This is essentially childhood sweethearts, second chance romance, but there is no yearning here. It's just, he looked at me. He looked at my mouth. He looked at my chest. He held my chin. There's nothing charged behind anything that we're reading. It's literally just a play-by-play of every action that every single character does at every given second.
I'm going to cut myself off there because I subsequently went on to rant for 10 minutes and none of it is coherent. I think you got the vibes that I really didn't like that book. Wild and Wrangled was the flop of this video, but we did have some success in other books, and I think I was kind of kidding myself saying that Problematic Summer Romance wasn't a 5 stars because I have continued to think about it for so long, and it's been 2 weeks, but I want to do a reread, so that's how you know that it's probably a 5 stars. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Let me know what your most anticipated book of this year has been, and if you have read it, and if you've gotten this far into the video, leave a love heart emoji, whatever your favorite color is. Leave a heart in the comments so I know that you got